Well, hi Stampers, Jackie Ballhays here. I have a video today for you showing you all kinds of tips and tricks for doing the cards in the Barn Door collection, an online class. Oh my gosh, you guys are gonna have so much fun making these. The 4 cards in this card collection show you 4 different ways to use the Barn Door. So I'm always looking for how can we get the most out of the stamps that we buy. So it's like, okay, 4 different ways to use this door. I hope you enjoy making these projects and you make tons of them to share with all your family and friends. Now before we get started with the cards, just a quick reminder that on the PDF you will have all the dimensions for all the pieces that are used for them. Now if you got the card kit, everything's pre-cut for you, but if you just purchase the tutorial, you'll be able to cut all your cardstock and stamp right along with all of these projects. So let's turn the camera around and start looking at the cards. Now I have to admit, when I first saw this stamp set in the catalog, I'm like, oh no, not for Jackie, because you know Jackie is all about quick and easy, and this just looked way too complicated for me. But guys, it's not, and I have had a blast playing with it, and I hope you enjoy it too. Like I said, we're gonna make 4 different cards using the Barn Door in 4 different ways. This is the one that you probably saw in the catalog, and if you've seen Stampin' Up's video and stuff where the door actually slides back and forth, we're going to save that one for last because I want to show you the other projects that I have first, just so that you realize how much you're going to be able to use the stamp set. Here is our first card that we're going to make. Now you'll notice this barn door simply opens like we think a door should. But before we actually get started on this, I want to just show you a little tip that you might want to use if you're making all 4 of these cards at one time. This little piece of paper, and there is a picture in the tutorial, this is all the different images stamped in the colors that you're going to need to make all of the wreaths and the little hello door hanger. I think it's easier just to stamp and cut out all of these pieces at one time. So this is all the stamping other than the door and the greetings on each one. So if you like me and like to be quick and easy, you might want to do these first, and then I'll refer to the pieces on here as we do each of the cards. So back to our first card. The door, I stamped this in black. I think all of our doors are stamped in black, and I stamped on cherry cobbler because I love the look of red doors. I stamped it and I cut it out with the die. Now let's take a peek at the dies. First off, this is how I like to store dies that go with a particular stamp set that I figure I probably really won't use with other stamp sets. You know, if it's labels and circles or more, what do I want to say, versatile type dies, I don't necessarily stick them in the stamp case, but I knew I wouldn't use these unless I'm using the stamps. So these are just business card magnet holders, so they had a peel off adhesive on the back, and I stuck them right in there on my case. Now, for the door, when we look at our dies, and there are so many different pieces here, there is just the plain old rectangle, and this is perfect for other things as well. But so I just stamped my door and I cut it out with the rectangle. And then hardware, that's always an important part of our door. So we have our little tiny handle, okay, and our die for this one is right here. See if we can, kind of hard to pick off of here. So this little piece cuts out the handle. So there you can see our handle. Now you might not recognize the little triangles. I had kind of a aha moment when I was making a different card, but this die right here, which is meant to cut out the sign that we're going to hang on one of our doors, when it cuts out, it has this fun little triangle. Let's grab it here, okay, which is technically waste, but I thought that would make the perfect little hinges on our door. So I had to cut 2 of those out. So we have our 2 little triangles and our door handle. Now, adhesive tip. These are little tiny pieces. I love to use just a little, what the heck do you call these? You know what they are. Gosh, my mind just went tweezers. And you've heard me say this a million times. I still like my mono liquid glue. Now, if you struggle with this glue, find an adhesive that works for you, but I want to show you how I use it and encourage you to give it a try. But the key is, oh, that one's kind of goopy on me. You use very, very little bit. So let's go ahead and start with our hinges. And all I did is I used my tweezers to hold it, and then I squeezed out a little tiny bit. Let's see. And we're talking tiny. Can you see how little I put on there? That's really all it takes to hold that. And then since I'm using the tweezers, I can just go ahead and flip it over and put it where I want. Now, one of the beauties of this adhesive is I can move it. So if it's not exactly where I want it, I can kind of move it down. I'm just getting it even with the edge over there, but I can slide it around, and then when it's right where I want it, press it down. So we would put the other one on there. Same thing goes with the handle. Okay, again, I'm going to use my tweezers, and I mean, this is tiny, little tiny dot. Doesn't need much. Can you see that on there? That's all I need. If you struggle getting too much adhesive out, another option would be to put like a little gob of it on a piece of scrap paper and use a toothpick, and then have your toothpick just kind of dab little bits of it, because you're going to do lots of little gluing on here. Again, slide that where I want it and press it down. And I'd put the other one on there as well. And then the front of this door is just glued onto a little card, okay? We have our words up there and our words right there. With my cards, I did use the greetings that are used in the stamp set, but you can certainly use all different kinds of greetings on these, but I wanted to just use the stamp set one. Now for the wreath, let's talk about that one. The image actually looks like this one. It is the wreath and the flower all in one. You can see here is our stamp. And then there is the die that will cut out this whole thing. So you line this up, you can see the little flower pieces there, and line it up and cut it out. But you can see how I have the pink flowers there. Well, all you need to do is stamp the wreath again. And I mean, I didn't need the whole wreath on this because all we want is the flowers, but Stampin' Up! Is getting smarter and smarter with their dies, because they gave us this little beauty, which just cuts out the flowers. So I can do all 3 flowers like that, and then I just adhered it over. Now, not only did they do that, they also gave us, which I did not use, 3 individual flowers. So if you wanted to make these flowers all different colors, you could cut out each one at a time. You'd have to do them separately, but there's a die for each size of the flowers if you want single flowers. So we've got those pieces in our set. And then the same thing goes with the wreath. So this is our image right here. There is the die that cuts out the whole wreath with the bow. And then there is a die that will cut out just the bow. So I cut the whole wreath out, and then I cut out just the red bow, or in this case it's the Melon Mambo, the pink one. Cut it out and just adhered it, and I used a mini dimensional on that one to pop it up a little bit. So those are all the tips for card 1 and the first way that we're going to use the barn door set. Let's move on to card number 2. Now in this case, it looks like this door should move, but it doesn't. The door is just on there. It's popped up with dimensionals to give it, some dimension. My Stampin' Crack, we use tons of them, but it's just a stationary door, but it makes a cute card. And then on the inside, I even stamped the door with the other half of the greetings. This is stamped in black, but I stamped it off on scrap paper 2 times first to get it really nice and light so that my words really showed up on that. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about our hardware at the top of the door. Again, little tiny pieces. Okay, there's dies for these. And once again, thank you, Stampin' Up! Like I said, they're getting smarter and smarter. You actually get 2 of these. They're the exact same thing, so that you can cut the 2 hinges out at one time. Hinges or rollers, I'm not sure what we call those. So we've cut out 2 of those, and once again, we're going to use our teeny tiny glue dot, or not glue dot, dot of glue, and I'm going to just hold this. And if you look at our card, only this part is adhered on. There is no adhesive under the top. So make sure that your adhesive is going right underneath the little hole in it. So we'll put a tiny dot, okay, not much. And then go ahead and flip your door the way you want it. And when you adhere this down, you just want that roller part coming up over the top. And again, I can slide it a little bit if I don't have it straight. But stick that one on, and then stick this one on, and then this long strip, again, cut with a die. Okay, it's just a long strip die like that. That is just adhered down to my crumb cake under there. So it's just glued across the card, and then the doors popped up with dimensionals. So super easy. The only thing you want to be really careful with this card is make sure you get this greeting way down at the bottom. Otherwise you're not going to have room for the door to fit. Now the sign, let's grab our piece of all our images that we stamped ahead of time. This is what the stamp looks like. So I stamped the door hanger, banner, whatever we want to call it, but then I stamped it again in red cherry cobbler, and I just took my scissors and cut out just the inside part, and you cannot even tell when you look at the card, but this is just a little rectangle and it's glued right on top of the black one. So it gives it, again, more dimensional and multicolors. There's the bow that came off the wreath. Okay, so I just cut it off, cut it with the die. And then all of this is popped up with dimensionals. So there is the second card. What do you think? You liking the barn door so far? And neither of those cards were as it appears in the catalog. Neither is number 3. So this is our third one, and this is just, it has 2 doors. It opens like so. I did use Happy Birthday from another stamp set. Feel free to use whatever greeting you want on the inside of this one. But I just wanted to have the 2 doors that open up, and then the card actually flips open and we have another greeting on the inside. So let's talk about how these doors were made. Again, 2 of them stamped in black, and this is just on the basic gray cardstock. And then all I did is I scored it right along the side so that the door itself would open. You can see on our one right here that when I open it, okay, this part stays. So it has a nice little crease. So all I did was I took my cutter and I wanted to score right down along this line. So I just lined it up with the groove in there where I know the scoring blade's gonna go. Make sure you use the scoring blade and not the cutter. And get a nice little score mark in there. And then we can just go ahead and fold it like so. So our door is gonna open. Then you have a piece of Whisper White for the inside. And all I did was I put adhesive, and make sure you're just putting it along the door here. Now, if you prefer to use snail or like what I call a weaker adhesive, make sure that you get this pressed down really good, because with a card that's gonna have a lot of movement like that, if you don't have a strong adhesive holding it on there, it could come off. So once again, that's why I like my Tombow. Fast Fuse would work really good for this too, or the Terran tape. So we're gonna just go ahead and put, okay, that's all I need. See, nice and light-handed. And I'm going to line this up right along the edge of that piece of white and then press it down good. So there's our first side. And then we can do the same with this piece. Again, use a little bit of adhesive. And yep, go ahead and line this one up with the edge of the card there. And then make sure that your center is meeting and press that down good. So now we have our card that will open like so. And then this will be just adhered to the front of our card. I used the little hinges or whatever you want to call these. I cut 4 of them. This time, just this part is adhered, okay? So that when our door opens, actually you could put adhesive on all of them, or the whole thing, it doesn't matter. And then the wreath, again, the 2 that are in the soft suede, and then I just cut the cherry cobbler bows out, and that whole thing is popped up using mini dimensionals. And then add your door handles and greeting of your choice on the inside. Now I did use on this one the hardwood background stamp. Feel free to use that. A brick would look good, or you could emboss the back of this with either the brick embossing folder or the hardwood to give it some texture. So whatever you have that works for you. And then we have the white inside. So there is our third way of using the barn door. Now I'm sure this is the card you're all been waiting for to make the barn door slide. It's really easy. This is one that scared me, guys, but if I could do it in my quick and simple mind, I'm sure you can as well. So a couple things before we get to the slider part of this, I want to just show you on the door. I stamped on the crumb cake, but I wanted a little bit of color on there. So I just used my soft suede pad, squeezed it to get it all inky and on the lid of it. And then I took my aqua painter and just, whoa, we got water coming everywhere there. squeeze it so we have some water coming out the bristle part. And then I just picked up some of that ink off of there and smeared it on here. I did it like on all these outside ones. So, I don't know. That's soft suede. I might have used chocolate chip on there. So use whatever color you want. And that just adds a little bit of dimension to your door. I'm not going to do the whole thing. So we'll just set that aside because now I want to show you how to make the moving mechanism. Now I did do the hardwood on the background of that one as well. So we're going to take a piece of 4x5 1/4. This is what we're going to create that moving mechanism on. Now Stampin' Up! Has made it super easy for us because we have a die that is going to cut our slits for us. Now you're going to want to just eyeball this one in the middle, left, right, up and down, and you're going to run it through your Big Shot just like this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. There we go. So when we pick that up, we're going to have two nice little, I don't know, what do you want to call these? Places for it to slide. Now, I have watched several different videos, and different people kind of have tried different things, and I tried a few different things. I really felt that the flat washers work the best to make this door slide really nice and easy. So these are size number 6. This was cheap. There's 75 in here. I think I got them from Lowe's or one of those places, and they were less than $1. So they're really cheap, but that's the size that works good. And you're going to need 8 of them for your card. So the first thing that you're going to do is take one of these and you're going to put it underneath our little slit like so. Just set it there, and then take a mini dimensional. And again, it's kind of critical that you're using these minis. And you're going to set it right in the middle of that washer. Well, you know what? Let's back up a second here. There. Sometimes it's easier to put it on there first. And then you're going to go ahead and set that washer underneath with that mini dimensional sticking up. And we'll go ahead and take another washer, and you're going to put it on the top and just line it up with that one underneath. So now you've just made the little sliding mechanism. So we'll do that one more time because I kind of fumbled a little bit there. So we'll take a washer and put the mini dimensional in the middle. If you have a hard time grabbing it, your tweezers works really good for this as well. You can grab that little dimensional and then find the center and stick it on there. Then go ahead and peel it off. Okay, and you can go ahead and stick that right like so. Okay, again, so the dimensional is coming up, and then put the other one on top of it. And you're going to do 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. There we go. So we have 8 washers. We got 2 sandwiches up on the top and 2 sandwiches down on the bottom. And then you're going to want to just push 2 all the way to the left and 2 all the way over there to the right. And then we're going to go ahead, using lots of mini dimensionals here, we're going to go ahead and place another mini dimensional on the top of each little sandwich here. Like so and so. Let's see, we'll do one right there. Oops. And this one like so. And then peel those off. So they'll be sticky, so be careful with them. Peel that one off. Now, this may seem like it's taken me a while and seems complicated, but trust me, this is super easy. Okay, now make sure before you do all of this, if you're gonna, put texture on here or stamping, do that before you do all this part. Now, let's assume we had our door all colored and ready to go. You can put your little handle and your wreath on and all of that ahead of time. And I would even put the little hardware pieces on here, because again, they are just glued down right here. There's nothing under them. They serve no purpose. They're just kind of there. Now, take your door, and you want these all the way over to the left, and put your door down and kind of eyeball it so it's straight top to bottom and on the sides, and just stick it on there and go ahead and stick it to those dimensionals that we had already. So there's one side. Then, because I'm right-handed and it's easier for me to go this way, what you're going to do is, because it's only stuck with dimensionals there, slide these all the way over to the left, bring your door over here and you want to just make sure they're covered. Just go far enough so that they're completely hidden and line it up and press down. And there is our sliding door. That is all there is to this sliding back and forth. You can see on the back what it looks like. So when we look at our card, again, this black piece is just glued up there. You can do it either before or after you do the, I think I probably did it after because I wanted to make sure I was above the door. Just put adhesive on there and stick it down like so. These little things, just like we did earlier, are gonna have some adhesive and stuck right on there. They don't serve any purpose even though they look like it. And now our card opens and closes. Hi there, it's me again. I totally forgot on the video to show you how to adhere this piece onto here because it is a little tricky. You're gonna have to use dimensionals on the back because you need this raised up enough so that this can slide. And you have to be really careful because if you put regular dimensionals out here, they may show on the edge here, or they might hit our washers. Okay, everything has to be clear of that washer so it can slide back and forth. So I found the adhesive strips work the best. And these come in a big old sheet like this, and I just cut it down. I think this is about 4 inches. And you can take off a piece. It's just like the dimensionals, okay? They're just big, long adhesive strips. And they fit perfectly if we put one on this side and then take another one and put it on this side. And then if you don't want to keep using these and you want to kind of save them, go ahead and put some dimensionals in the middle here. And you could even do like 3 and 3. You want to pop this up really good and even put some dimensionals down here. And even one in the middle. This is, you know, the dimensionals are a Stampin' Crack and you really need them on here because we want to make sure that when this goes on here, it's raised up and it's not sinking down any place, and that's what makes this door slide really super easy. So sorry I forgot that on the other video, but I've included this one, so now you know how to put this card together. Have fun. So, if you have any questions about any of these cards, make sure to get a hold of me. I am here to help you in any way I can, but I hope you fall in love with this door set just like I did. So what do you think? Are you going to make tons of cards out of this barn door set? I hope so. The ideas are absolutely endless, especially with the slider one. I mean, you could do for any occasion, any theme, different greetings under there. I mean, how fun to get a card that it actually moves and reveals the saying on it. So I hope you enjoy these cards. I hope you make lots of them. Again, if you have questions, let me know. And I look forward to stamping with you again in an Upline online class or in our Stamps in the Mail Club. So have a great day, guys.